Let's turn to the voices of the hostages and their families. We're joined by Gil Dickmann. Gil is cousin of hostage Carmel Gat. Carmel was kidnapped by Hamas on October the 7th, 2023. She was killed in a tunnel in Rafah in Gaza. Her body recovered by Israeli soldiers. Gil, thank you for being with us here in France 24. And can I start by asking you to accept our sincere condolences for you, for your family, for your painful loss. Because regardless of how this stands politically, we're looking at people's lives being taken, and it is painful. So please accept our condolences on the situation. What is your message to Israel's Prime Minister on this 600th day of the war?
Thank you very much for your condolences. Our message is very, very clear. 600 days is way, way too much. We have to end this war now. What you're seeing right now on your screens is us, the families of the hostages who were murdered or killed in captivity. Some were killed due to the activity of the IDF. Some were murdered by Hamas. But we know that the military pressure that was applied on Hamas brings the death of hostages. And for us, as the families of the hostages, for us, as most of the Israeli people, we have had enough of innocent people losing their lives on both sides of the border. And I'm telling Prime Minister Netanyahu, you know that it's enough and you have to put an end to this war.
Gil, looking at it as, from my perspective, as a layman, I'm not a military expert, but I'm keenly asking questions as a journalist. It seems to me that if you're shelling the place where your hostages are being held, you are putting their lives at risk. I imagine this has been part of your message to Benjamin Netanyahu to stop doing that.
Yes. The way I see it, when you look at Hamas, the terror organization that kidnapped these hostages, they're actually holding them as a way of protecting their most valuable assets. And so if you want to eliminate Hamas, and I totally agree that Hamas should be and must be eliminated, the only way to do that is to first get the hostages out and end this war right now. And then you have to treat Hamas, then you have to eliminate them. And you can do this both diplomatically and through military force. But the most important thing is to get the hostages back. That's what we believe here. The people of Israel, we put the lives of the hostages above and beyond anything else. We put the lives of the Israeli people, of Jews and Muslims and Christians, everyone, above anything else. That's why we're saying to Prime Minister Netanyahu, you should do the same way. Don't try to get this war to go on and on and on forever to save your own seat. Just put an end to this war, and then we can handle Hamas.
Gil, can I ask you to talk a little bit about your cousin that you lost? I know this will be painful, but I think for people who are watching this, I think it's going to be very helpful for them to realise who you've lost, how much she meant. Can you tell us about Carmel, please?
Of course. My beloved cousin was kidnapped at 39, and she was staying at her parents' house. Her mother, Kineret, was murdered that day. She saw it with her own eyes. We know that she passed right through the corner where her mother was murdered. And for 50 days, she was held with two youngsters, Alma and Noam Or, and she was their guardian angel in captivity, doing yoga and meditation with them. She's an occupational therapist. That's what she learned and studied, and that's what she was actually doing in captivity. She was a beautiful soul that loved life, loved freedom, and loved everyone. It didn't even matter whether they were Muslim or Christian or Jewish. She was a lover of the humankind. And it is so painful for us to know that she survived for 328 days in captivity, waiting for a deal that was supposed to bring her back. She was on the list for the deal. And on the very last day when she was supposed to come back, the deal collapsed and they went back into fighting. She was just a few hours away from getting back home, and we lost her because of the military pressure. The Hamas terrorists shot her to death, and we are so painful. What we promised to her and to all the families of the other hostages is that Carmel will be the last hostage to be murdered in captivity. We have to put an end to this war to get all the hostages back, the living and the deceased, and then we can treat Hamas.
It is a tragic circumstance, and you talk about it with a smile in spite of the pain that you are very clearly feeling, Gil, and thank you for telling us about your cousin. Final question to you, sir. Do you feel that Prime Minister Netanyahu has ever really taken it seriously about getting back the hostages? There were those who said at the start that that wasn't the priority, and many people have found that really hard to accept. But do you feel that has been the issue all along, that the Prime Minister has not given or not made this the main priority?
This is my problem as a family of a hostage, as someone who spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu several times. I feel that he did not put this first on his priority. And most of the Israelis do. Most of the Israelis think that the lives of the Israeli people, the lives of the hostages is the most important thing. But for Netanyahu, it looks like keeping the war and going on with the war forever is more important than actually getting the hostages back. And so the world should know that even if Netanyahu chooses to keep on fighting forever, what we want as the Israeli people, what we want as the innocent victims of this horrible war is to put an end to this nightmare, to get the hostages back home. That's what most of the people on both sides want. And the leaders who want to keep on fighting forever, they just want the war to go on and on and on so they can keep their job. We don't care about their job. We don't care who is actually prime minister. What we care about is that you end this war and get the hostages home. Put your priorities in order, get the hostages home, and then we can treat all the other things.
Gil, thank you very much for joining us. And once again, our sincere condolences to you and to all your family for the loss of your beloved cousin Carmel, who you spoke of so fondly there in our interview. Gil Dickmann, cousin of the hostage Carmel Gat. It's 600 days since the war began. It continues. Our coverage continues, of course. We're watching for all developments as they happen. And thanks again to Gil Dickmann and to the Bring Them Home Now movement, which has been campaigning to get the hostages back and putting pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to that end.